Okay, what is up guys, Farhan here, and on this vlog, I want to talk about how COVID-19 will affect us overlanders. Overlanders meaning riders, motorcycle riders who like to ride up north to Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, and maybe beyond. So traveling in a post-COVID new normal, right? To give a little bit of background, right? Currently here in Singapore, there's the current circuit breaker lockdown. And the government has announced that the circuit breaker is going to end on June 1st, and they will be opening up the country in phases. So that will take some time to get back to normal, basically. And because of that, the circuit breaker has resulted in restriction of movement, closure of public spaces, attractions, non-essential services and businesses have to close down, and employees are encouraged to work from home. Those who can work from home, they need to work from home. And borders are closed, so no Singaporeans can basically leave the country. Singaporeans returning to overseas must be quarantined for 14 days. Special provisions are given to foreigners who want to leave the country. And also mandatory wearing of masks are not required for those riding motorbikes. But once you get off the motorbikes, you definitely need to wear the mask. Now I'm gonna talk about the aftermath of the lockdown. Basically, during this so-called new normal, right, on how it will affect travelers and overlanders such as myself who want to go to Thailand probably and beyond. Maybe some of the things may not even come true, but these are just some things that I've been thinking about and considering whether it may or may not happen when we basically leave the country. Once there's a vaccine, we'll probably need to get vaccinated before we leave Singapore. Just like during the pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina, those doing the pilgrimage, they need to get themselves jabbed with certain flu jabs before leaving the country to possibly protect them from exposure to any diseases coming from the Middle East. I mean, because the pilgrimage hosts a variety of nations, and you may not know the kind of diseases they may not bring. Basically, all of those going to Mecca and Medina will need to get themselves vaccinated before leaving the country, and that may happen for us Singaporeans before we leave our own country. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is the possible scenarios on border crossing. So us overlanders, when riding a motorcycle, we definitely need to cross borders, such as Thailand, Myanmar, Laos. We definitely need to cross borders. So this is what I've been thinking about the possible scenarios on border crossing. Like maybe there would be a quarantine order upon crossing the borders. Basically, once you enter the country, you will need to be isolated for 14 days before you're allowed to go on your business in the particular country. And basically, I'm not surprised that if this 14-day stay-at-home notice or 14-day quarantine, self-quarantine thing will be extended during this time, because it may go on for quite some time, because COVID-19 is still a threat until a proper vaccine or a cure is discovered. I don't foresee this stay-at-home 14 days quarantine thing will die down anytime soon. Another scenario is mandatory health checks before entering the country. So before entering certain countries, you probably need a certificate from the doctor to get yourself checked and ensure that you're free of COVID-19 before entering the particular country. Here in Singapore, for the Malaysians working in Singapore, right, before they enter Malaysia, right, they will need to obtain a doctor's letter and get themselves checked to ensure that they are free of COVID-19. This is on top of the 14 days quarantine that they will need to serve once they enter back to Malaysia, basically. Another point I would like to make is there will probably be more procedures and paperwork need to be filled before entering a country. So I think you may need to fill out a health declaration form, and this would definitely be a hassle to get through the border, because there's a lot of paperwork that we need to fill out, especially for us overlanders. Like in Thailand, for example, you need to fill out additional forms if you want to bring in your vehicle, like a customs import license. And maybe I can see that in the foreseeable future, certain countries may implement health questionnaires, health declarations, etc. And the final point is possibility of being turned away at the border. In 2003, during SARS, some countries actually temporarily banned Singaporean travellers from entering the country. I can remember it faintly. Basically, during that time, Singapore actually had a number of patients who have contracted with the SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, And certain countries, they've actually closed off their borders to the travelers of certain countries, especially in Singapore during that time. So I'm not surprised if some countries may want to extend that ban for Singapore, because Singapore, as you guys know, there's like over 28,000 cases so far as of the recording of this vlog, basically, because the numbers are almost triple digits each day, you know. So certain countries may want to take the additional step of even banning Singapore tourists from entering the country lah. Okay, so another point that I would like to make is that prices of hotels, attractions may also decrease in a bid to attract tourists and customers. This is a no-brainer. I mean, some countries, they would like to get the economy going, and to attract people, they would definitely offer discounts, packages, and waive off entry fees to certain places. While on the flip side of the coin, some attractions and places may be closed due to a drop in business during the lockdown. We have seen this. I mean, here in Singapore, over 8,000 plus businesses have shut off their doors ever since the circuit breaker lockdown started. Maybe once this is over, right, and you can go about traveling again, the certain place that we want to do or we want to go is no longer there anymore because it has run out of business, and it's pretty disappointing lah, I must say. And also, because of the lockdown, the economy is definitely down in the dumps. There's no denying about it. There may be a rise in upfront costs when traveling to certain places, like you may need to pay additional fees, or possibly inflation, you know, because certain countries may even increase their customs fees. You may even need to pay additional fees before entering the country, because I think certain governments, they would like to make a bit more money during this time. And tourist revenue is definitely one of those ways to make money lah. So basically, we overlanders, we tourists, we need to pay more, and they really charge us to use their highways and roads. So not really too sure about that, because while doing some research, I've yet to see any country basically doing more to charge tourists, to increase tourist tax. Like Malaysia has their tourist tax when booking a hotel, so I'm not sure that will increase also. The next point is travelers' movement may be monitored or restricted whilst in country, and also information and contact details to be on the standby, as it may be needed whilst in country to facilitate with contact tracing. So basically, this point is to basically facilitate the country's contact tracing effort in case a new cluster is formed. So they will definitely need to get in touch with all of the people who have basically been there. And I don't think some people would be happy to share personal details with certain places other than the immigration office, the border control. They will definitely need to give out their details for certain establishments such as food shops. I mean, here in Singapore, before entering a shopping mall, you will need to scan a QR code, key in your personal details, and register yourself before you enter. And this may happen for other countries as well, because definitely these countries at this point, they will want to get their economy going, but at the same time, they are taking their precautions, and contact tracing is one of the ways to reduce the spread of COVID-19. So we definitely need to get our passports on standby, be prepared to give up personal information to these places lah. And so final point I would like to make is that you may risk of COVID-19 exposure once in the country, because for other countries, we're not sure how they have controlled COVID-19, whether they have extended the necessary precautions they need to take after post-COVID-19, like mandatory or wearing of masks, health checks, etc. post-COVID-19. But then again, the risk is also everywhere. Even in Singapore, you can even catch COVID-19 from here, because once contracted with the virus, is asymptomatic. You may not even know that you have COVID-19, and it will take about 14 days before the symptoms appear. I don't know, because certain countries have their own way of dealing with COVID-19. The risk of COVID-19 exposure is definitely there lah. So I've come to my next point, is that what we can do as overlanders, as travelers, to deal with the new normal of COVID-19 whilst traveling, whilst riding up north. All we can basically do is be mentally prepared for these possible scenarios and changes. So we'll definitely need to adapt to a new normal. There will definitely be frustrations at the border within the country itself, because as I've said before, different countries have their own way of dealing with the COVID-19 exposure. So they may implement more steps to deal with the pandemic and definitely mitigating it at the border is definitely one of the measures that these countries have to take lah. Basically, it will definitely be frustrating. There will definitely be additional steps that we need to take before entering the particular country, so we need to be mentally prepared for it lah, and basically get used to all these social norms lah. How we can prepare ourselves is that do more research before entering and leaving the country, plan possible destinations and places of interest, to ensure they're not closed, they're not out of business, and also so that we are not greeted by shock when we reach there. Clarify or ask the immigration authority of the country, or even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on immigration procedures. So basically, maybe you can go into Google, the internet, and search about the procedures of that particular country, on what you need to do before entering, before leaving, etc. Do plan for a backup. Like I said before, certain places may have gone out of business, but they haven't really announced it on the internet or Facebook. Plan on what you're gonna do if certain things don't work out. You definitely need to foresee these things from happening. And finally, my final point, stay connected. Stay connected and have emergency contacts at the ready. I highly recommend, some sort of small card in your wallet, but you list down all the emergency contacts while there, so in case anything happens, you can just people can just see the card and know who to contact. Okay, so guys, I hope you find these tips useful. These are just some things that I've been thinking, whilst traveling, whilst riding up north. We may not know how certain countries may deal with us travelers post COVID-19. So these are just some of the things that I've been thinking about lah, basically, and I just want to record it and share with you guys to be mentally prepared, whilst traveling lah. If you guys got any comments or thoughts that you want to add in, feel free to put it down in the comment section below, and maybe we can help each other out as overlanders, as travelers, to be prepared traveling and overlanding post COVID-19. So I think that's it for this vlog, and we will see you in the next one.